Good afternoon, good evening, good night. Thank you all for joining us whenever you decided to join us. This is your daily dose of donkey with Ginger Sports Talk. Maybe we'll change the name to Steelers Talk, or maybe we'll change the name to Man, I'm Sad. I don't know. Gingy, thanks for joining us today on this day of sorrow-filled Steeler cry fest because we lost to the Cleveland Browns.
Donkey. At this point, 5 days ago, I witnessed something that, as a Steeler fan, was probably one of the lowest points that I've been felt at, and I've seen some things. I watched a very similar playoff game versus Jacksonville a couple years ago in person.
Oy.
I've witnessed the playoff win by Tim Tebow against the Steelers.
Mike Taylor, what were you doing?
Those are, but this wretched loss to the Cleveland Browns is probably one of the worst things I've seen. Just because there's not a lot to feel good about. I feel like they were outplayed in all three aspects of the game. I think there was inexcusable mistakes made by veteran players, and this is where the season ends, and maybe a lot more than that, but we'll get into that a lot bit further.
I want to sum up what I feel by two players. The heart of the Steelers offense allegedly gave the ball to the opposing team 4 times, and I believe it led to 21, if not 28 points. The alleged heart of the defense went up against a backup lineman to start, and then at the third quarter went up against a lineman who had just met Baker Mayfield on that day. So a dude who hadn't even been with the team to actually practice and was averaging negative yardage push, which means he was getting pushed backwards the whole day by a backup and a third string. The two players who are allegedly the heart and soul of this team absolutely failed to show up. And Cleveland, you got your victory. The first time in, oh my God, I don't even know if I remember. But you got it. You were the Browns. You gave us a chance. For some reason, you played prevent the whole game and gave us a chance. But it didn't happen. But before we get into sad stuff, we got 4 games going on this weekend, and they all look to be fun. I want to start with the matchup of matchups. The old versus the old.
Ooh.
Tom Brady, Drew Brees,
NFC.
New Orleans, Tampa Bay.
Okay.
Bro, I like the Bucs in this for one simple fact. It's really hard to beat a team 3 times in the same season.
It really is. I agree with you there, Donkey, but damn it, the Saints are good. If you're looking at a complete unit, okay, everybody knows Drew Brees, Alvin Kamara, they're getting Michael Thomas back. By the way, different team with Michael Thomas, and you know it. And
yeah, he shifts every coverage to him. There's no doubt about it.
And, in terms of well-rounded, that defense, gnarly on the other end. I think you're going to see a lot of points put up. And honestly, I don't think the Buccaneers can keep up in that track meet.
I think they can, and there's 3 simple reasons. Look what they did last week, and that was with Godwin dropping the football all the time. And that dude doesn't drop the football. Tom Brady even said he had some of the best hands he's ever played with was Godwin. But that dude didn't catch the ball. But, dude, you're looking at a receiving core on that Tampa Bay side with Mike Evans, who has the most 1,000-yard seasons to start a career of any wide receiver, past Randy Moss. He got barely over 1,000 this year. You have Godwin, who's just might be the best receiver on that crew the way he's been breaking out the last few years. And then you put in there an Antonio Brown, who's looking vintage Antonio Brown after he got into game shape. Like, put on his last 6 games of tape. Dude, that guy's uncoverable. And you got little Scotty Miller, who doesn't even get a play, but when he does get a play, he seems to catch a big pass every time. So, I mean, he's got that going for him. Oh, we get a play in a nuke zone. If it gets a little loud, I'm sorry, everybody, but nuke zones tend to be loud. But I love that game. And then So you're feeling New Orleans, are you?
I think so. in that game, Donkey. I think I am you saw it on Christmas Day. Alvin Kamara delivered you 6 presents, Donkey.
Yeah, but remember, Tampa Bay has the #1 rush defense in the league.
We'll see. Catching out of he's deadly out of the backfield.
He is. I think Ndamukong Suh lives in Drew Brees' back pocket this game.
Attention, citizens.
We'll see. That is a good matchup. That's the
And,
Sunday night matchup, right, Donkey?
And I'm loving Pitt kids who are in the playoffs right now. So Jordan Whitehead in the secondary out there is going to have a big interception for Tampa. And by the way, Pitt kids playing in big games. That's going to lead me to the next one. And the best defensive player in the league, Aaron Donald.
Mm-hmm.
Them Rams taking on the Packers. Unfortunately,
he's
I don't.
Yeah, he's gonna have a tough matchup.
I don't feel good for the Pitt kids in this one. I
Aaron
think Aaron Rodgers is on a
fire.
mission.
Yeah, he's on fire. I can't. I'm definitely not gonna bet against the Packers there, but and Aaron Donald can interrupt that offense. I think he can. And then the key matchup that you're gonna be watching is Devontae Adams versus Jalen Ramsey.
Yep.
That's going to determine that game.
Off-season move I thought was the dumbest thing I ever saw was Green Bay drafting a quarterback in the first round, but my God, has Aaron Rodgers just been like, really? Like, maybe it was the smartest thing they ever did was to just piss Aaron Rodgers off by drafting his so-called replacement, because, bro, that dude's been playing on another level. Jesus. Like, I don't think the MVP should just be a quarterback award, but since it is just a quarterback award and it's not going to have any chance at Derrick Henry, yeah, give it to that guy because he's on another level. And, I see that one going hard for the Packers. No offense, Jared Goff, but I think the former St. Louis, current LA Rams, would have had a better chance with Wolford, but that's just because your passes look bad with that thumb, man. Kudos to you, though, for playing after getting staples or whatever in your thumb, nails, whatever he had to get put in his thumb. Kudos for you to coming back so quick, but, oh yeah, I feel the train ends here.
Yep. I think the Packers advance in that. To represent the NFC in the NFC Championship game. We're getting down to the end, Donkey. I think we got, what,
We are.
6 or 7 more games of
level
football left?
1242, highest I have ever seen in Fallout. Welcome to my camp, bro.
Got 7 more games of football left.
Hey, I got really good news. There are 2 AFC North football teams in here. You know what that means, right? The Steelers are sitting at home. So which one of the 2 AFC North games do you want to get into?
Let's talk about Buffalo and Baltimore.
Okay, I feel that one.
I think there's something special going on in Buffalo, and
Dude,
I
Josh
saw
Allen is a stud.
looking
This year, at least.
looking real good in Buffalo. The Ravens, they played a game with the Titans. Lamar Jackson looked really shaky in the first quarter. He threw an interception that
Jackson throwing the
bad.
football. Yeah, Lamar Jackson throwing the football, cringeworthy. But there's another player. You gonna highlight that one?
Oh.
Lamar Jackson running the football? Really
yes,
good.
he does. He is good. He'll take it up the middle real quick. That seam is very dangerous when that pocket just goes around him and behind him, and he takes off.
If I played the Baltimore Ravens, I would always have Lamar Jackson watched by a linebacker and a safety, because there's one dude who's not going to beat me by running the football, and it's that guy. If he wants to beat me throwing it, kudos. But he is not getting a chance to beat me running the football. He is just too good at running. Like, bro, I just get chills when I think this guy is better than Michael Vick at running the football. Like, I didn't think that was even possible.
Yeah,
This dude's better than vintage Michael Vick at running the football. Like, he's not as good at throwing it. I think Michael Vick still has a little bit there, and who knows, he could get there. But running the football, bruh.
As long as he doesn't get RG3'd, I think it's something pretty special there. But like I said, I think there's something special going on in Buffalo too.
I love the Bills.
And we'll get into this with the Steelers game, though. I think they're at an extreme disadvantage earning a home playoff game and having no fans there, while I think that the 11,000 fans in Buffalo make a difference. feels
They will.
special.
I think that Buffalo team is something special. Dude, I'm having such a hard time deciding if I was to pick a Super Bowl. Like, when I was deciding with my mind at the beginning, I'm like, dude, do I pick Buffalo or do I pick Kansas City? Because both of those teams, to me, have something special. And I don't know. Josh Allen, to me, is actually the MVP. I know he's not going to get it, but to me, the MVP of the league this year is Josh Allen, because if he needed to do it with his legs, he'd do it with his legs. He'd throw the ball down your throat. And adding Stephon Diggs to give him that just secondary weapon, man, that's worked so well. And I love what Josh Allen is doing. I love what he's become. I did not think he had any chance of becoming a good quarterback in the NFL. I thought that was such a terrible first-round draft pick. And right now, I'm looking like I couldn't eat more crow, because he's making pretty passes. He's running the ball with his legs. He is the... Do I go out on a limb and say I think he's going to be the best quarterback out of that really talented draft class? Which, by the way, has... Is it 3 quarterbacks from that draft class that are in this playoffs right now?
Seems like it, doesn't it?
Really, what a time to pick a quarterback if you were picking that year, man. It kind of brings back memories of, I don't know, a very classy 04 draft class. All right, now we're going to get out of the loudness for everybody. I'm going to go run back to the camp since we just beat the Queenie and y'all got to see it.
Nice run.
Let's... Do you wanna showcase the next game for us? There was a one that
we're looking at
my heart.
We're looking at
Ooh, level 220. Woo-hoo.
What, are you ready to talk about this Steelers game, Donkey?
No, we got one more. We got one more game this weekend. We haven't previewed.
We're gonna look at Cleveland, Kansas City, are we? Okay.
Yeah, and
Kansas
it still
City
breaks my heart because there's a team in there that shouldn't be there.
I don't know. I saw. Did you see the line on this, Donkey?
I hope it was 14 because that's what I would bet at. I wouldn't bet unless it was at 14.
I'm pretty sure it's 10.
Close.
And
I seriously wouldn't even consider betting.
That's probably the biggest line I've seen in a
time.
divisional round game.
Mm-hmm.
In long time.
I agree.
Which, you know, the Browns playing into this underdog role, you never know. But you really have a hard time imagining an Andy Reid football team with a week's rest, with the more talented roster, coming in and laying an egg at home in this game. I have a tough time seeing that.
I only agree with you, the more talented roster, because of what Cleveland's missing. I've told you before, I think Cleveland has the most talented roster in the AFC North. I think their quarterback's one of the more suspect ones. And welcome to the Hillbilly Hellhole, a.k.a. Gingy's Camp. I thought I'd give you all a little tour while we were talking. But
Party town.
That Cleveland roster, if they weren't missing Olivier Vernon, if they weren't missing, who's the big cornerback out there? Denzel Ward's not playing. Or maybe he is playing. Maybe he's back off COVID. But either way, they're missing Greedy Williams on the other side. Not a team you want to face with a banged up secondary. I mean, bro, every one of them can run the top off the joint. And then you mix in a core of receivers that run the top off the joint with a guy like, I don't know, who's catching passes out of the backfield right now for them? Do we want to mention names? Do we want to say Le'Veon Bell? Oh, that's right, Le'Veon Bell. And they might have the best tight end in football right now. Oh my God, Kelsey, right?
Right? Yeah, I would have to say
that dude's still there catching footballs. I mean, I guess there's always the hope that COVID test hits Patrick Mahomes. Oof. But last week was all with me just believing in Ben Roethlisberger and believing the Steelers had a chance for my disdain and thinking Cleveland was going to get blown out. This week is all just pure, how the hell do you stop Patrick Mahomes? Like, I've seen bad teams do it. Don't get me wrong, Cleveland, there's hope. Remember, Atlanta should have beat them because Mahomes threw what should have been an interception and was dropped, and then they scored the go-ahead touchdown and win that game 17-14. Remember, Denver shut them down. And here's the thing, Cleveland. You got a couple good running backs. Feed them the ball. I personally don't see it happening, but you guys have a good chance out there. If you can control the clock and can keep the Chiefs from the big plays, that's a big keep. I think Cleveland has a chance. I mean, I wouldn't bet the game unless they were getting at least 14 because I don't see how you beat that Kansas City team. And honestly, I still don't know if I feel Kansas City's a better team or Buffalo's a better team, but I think they're the two best teams in the AFC. But Gingy, there has to be something I'm missing there, right? Like, there's a reason that Chiefs team was 14 and 2 or 15 and 1, but I have to be missing something. Like, I'm giving Cleveland a lot more benefit than I think I should be. What am I? There's a clown Beckett. What am I missing here?
I don't think you're necessarily missing anything, but you had 14 and 2 is just a number. A lot of those games, Kansas City squeaked by with some, because they make key plays in key moments, convert big third downs. They don't necessarily win a whole game, but when you break football down, there are certain drives, certain plays, certain downs that matter more than others in regards to the whole thing. And I feel like Kansas City hits those plays more often than not, and that is the key to their success.
I'm with you. I do feel this is a 2-score win for Kansas City, don't get me wrong, but I do see a way Cleveland wins this game. But there's just something about Andy Reid coming off a bye week. Like, it's
scary.
How do you beat that dude off a bye week? Like, that dude is great at prepping. And his offensive coordinator has to be getting a head coaching job, right?
I would think so.
Like, he has to. I'm really glad that Saleh got a job, by the way. The San Francisco defensive coordinator, dude deserved one last year. Props for him for getting a head coaching job. I think that's a good hire for you, New York. Please give him 4 years, though. Don't be cutting him after 2. Let that dude build the culture. Let that dude build the defense and see where you go.
I agree.
Weird aside, but since we got the head coaches, but do you want to get into this now? Do you? Should we? Like, is it even worth trying to get into this?
Yeah, it is. There's some things that need to be said.
Okay, well, you take it away first, because I don't want to get on a 30-minute rant and just not let you talk.
Thank you, Donkey. I am very disappointed in pretty much all aspects in terms of level of preparation, offensively, defensively, special teams wise, outcoached in all 3 phases. I think that they're the athletes on the field. They are there. The players are there. The formula, Donkey, I'm afeared, is off, and you could tell that by the Steelers released, I believe, three coordinators this week. Randy Fichtner, Bonzo.
3 coaches didn't get renewed. Yep.
Bonzo, offensive line coach, DB coach.
Sherritt sucked. The DB coach one kind of confused me, but whatever. Bradley's gone. He's kind of old. And the tight ends coach retired too. Don't forget to add that one in there.
Right. And one of the biggest downfalls, I think, of that game is that we had to play Cleveland in back-to-back weeks. Because in all 3 phases of the game, they attacked the Steelers' weak points. And I think I touched on this last week in terms of a coaching philosophy. There are some coaches that go out and they plan each and every week, adaptability to the other team's weakness. And they coach a different plan based on what's going on. And there are some
I wish
teams,
I had my face cam right now so you could see how hard I'm nodding. I am nodding so hard with you right now. Keep going.
There are some teams that have the belief that if they play their quote-unquote brand of football, and if they play it at a high level, they can go out and beat any team. I think this was mainly this became apparent to me when I heard Juju Smith-Schuster say the words "nameless gray faces." That does not sound like something Juju Smith-Schuster would say. That sounds exactly like something Mike Tomlin would say. Okay? And understanding that there are merits to
I'll
both.
disagree with you. I'll disagree with you there on the part. I think Juju would say that because I think Juju, by the way, he said, "Get this female out of my inbox" to a Cincinnati Bengal player after getting fucking lit up by Von Bell. I'm pretty sure Juju would say the nameless thing, but I only half disagree because it definitely is something Mike Tomlin would say.
So, with that being said, there are merits to both points, but in this particular instance, last Sunday evening, the Browns took advantage of that. And they ran a style of offense that negated our strength, which was TJ Watt's pass rush. 0 sacks, right? First time we've been held out without a sack.
Zero quarterback pressures, I believe. Not just 0 sacks, dude. I think it was 0 quarterback pressures.
Baker Mayfield was releasing the ball in roughly average 2.1 seconds, I believe, Donkey.
He went full Ben.
And they attacked a weak spot, okay, on offense.
Honest question, before we get to the offense. Honest question.
All right.
How much of that, though, is because they were able to play a style of offense because they were gifted 21 points to start a game, and once you're up 21-0, you can play a little different.
100%, and that plays into Cleveland's strength, which is running the ball and possessing.
Yep.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. Played right into their hands. The mistakes on offense are inexcusable. This is the second performance by Ben Roethlisberger in which we've seen crazy numbers. 500 yards, 68 passes thrown, 4 touchdowns.
Dude, there's an NFL record in that game. You know that, right?
Like,
can we talk about that? Can we talk about that?
I'm gonna talk for a while. I'm gonna say, let me finish my point, and then you go ahead with that. I want to say that Ben Roethlisberger also threw 4 interceptions, and from the cornerstone of your franchise to not be able to take care of the football is inexcusable in those situations. And we're gonna have to take a little bit of reflection time to determine what is going to be best for the Pittsburgh Steelers moving forward. All right. I'm done.
We'll get into that hard next week. I have so much to say on that one.
That sounds good.
We all probably know where I'm going, so I'm not going there. There was a record set in the game. Most completions in an NFL game, bro. Good job, Ben. I'm proud of you. I legitimately am proud that you single-handedly in one quarter put us in a hole we couldn't come out of. And yes, I understand the first play was Maurkice Pouncey, but hear me out on this why I say Ben single-handedly, because you almost convinced me I wasn't going to say it, but I'm going to. There are 3 people I hold purely accountable for this loss because of the way it started, and all 3 of them are purely where they are because of Ben Roethlisberger. First one, Big Ben Roethlisberger. Dude, you know the only way the Cleveland Browns are going to beat you is if you turn the ball over, right? Mm-hmm. Well, they only beat Mason Rudolph because Mason Rudolph turned the ball over. So what does Ben do?
Poor decisions. Turnovers. Throw the ball across the middle.
Turn it over. Dude, I felt I was like on a fucking record player and I couldn't get off. I was going to puke. My wife kept telling me to stop watching the game. I'm like, no, look, they're going to give me help. Look, we're on a run. Oh, talkie! That's going to be the new curse in my house. Oh, talkie! Like, okay. That's one. Player number 2, Maurkice Pouncey. I've been saying you need to get out of here. Someone just bought my "You're the Dumbass" note for 1,000 caps. I shit you not, Gingy. That just happened on stream.
In here.
Let's go. Anyway, talkie. My new curse. Anyway. Number 2, Maurkice Pouncey. How the hell are you still on this team? You've been one of the worst performing centers over the last 3 years. Better question, how do you keep getting named to Pro Bowls? Like, he was named to Pro Bowls when he was literally the PFF's worst rated center in 2019 or 2018, one of those 2 years.
It's a good question.
You know why Pouncey's still on this team and why the Steelers haven't released him like we do all other veterans when we know they're done?
Ben.
I give you one. Ben Roethlisberger.
Mm-hmm.
You know why I know this? Because there's no doubt. Who's our offensive coordinator?
That spot is absent right now.
Prior, during the game. Who was our offensive coordinator?
Randy Fichtner.
Is there any doubt that he was purely there because Ben wanted him there?
No doubt.
Any doubt? Was that dude qualified to be a coordinator in any way, shape, or form?
Not to my knowledge.
That's like the Cleveland Browns hiring that stupid bum they had for a year because he did decent with Baker Mayfield for a day. You know why he was there? Big Ben Roethlisberger. You know why I say this loss is purely on one man? Because the three people I hold most responsible were all there because of Big Ben Roethlisberger. And there's plenty of blame to go around, dude. I mean, that defense could have stepped up and made a stop anytime. But when you're not allowed to rush the passer because of how far you are behind, that kills a team that's built off rushing the passer. And then we get Keith. I don't give a shit if their best receiver's a slot receiver. I'm going to put Vince Williams on him, Butler. Bro, I'm done with you. You're getting renewed. That dampers my hope for next year because you can't... Yeah, your team looks good when you have an elite pass rush, but if we bring Ben back next year, you're not going to have Bud Dupree on that other side. Your defense is going to look like it looked the last 4 weeks of the year, and that ain't good enough. And I hold him so much accountable. I was about to do something I never thought I would do, by the way, in that game. You can ask my wife. I'm like, based off this team and the way they're playing with no heart, I'm not sure I would want Mike Tomlin back. I said that after the first quarter, and you know I love Tomlin.
Mm-hmm.
But something happened in that game. There was a little comeback. There was a try. And we did put up 37 points. I mean, that team didn't give up. Say what you want, they didn't play good enough. They never did. But they didn't completely quit. Although after the first quarter it looked like it. Was there any fight in that team? Did you think there was any fight in that team after that first quarter? I mean, no one looked to even care. No one even looked to care, right?
Right.
And then Mike Tomlin, because of the way we performed on 4th and 1, lived in his fears. He says we don't do that, but he clearly lived in his fears, bro. And it makes me sad because we needed to go for it there. I knew we needed to go for it there. I knew the game was over when that happened. That 4th and 1 call not to go for it, man, that hurt, but we lived in our fears. And it happened, and Tomlin needs to get out of that. I think Tomlin needs to bring in 2 coordinators who are going to call the game without his influence. And that's not what we have right now. And I have one more really, really hard to say thing. I said earlier this year, Juju Smith-Schuster made me feel like Hines Ward was back. Like, he reminded me of him. I take 100% of that back. Juju's here about Juju. Hines Ward was never there about Hines Ward. Juju Smith-Schuster catches a slant route on a 3rd and 7 for only 6 yards. He runs it only 6 yards. Hines Ward never ran a route short of the sticks. Here's the other part. If Hines Ward ran a route for 6 yards, you know damn good and well he's going to get those other 2 yards, and there isn't going to be a 4th and 1, right?
I don't disagree with you.
Gets tackled, gets absolutely stoned. I hate to say it, Juju, but you're like a soft man's version of Hines Ward. You're like a Wayne Corbett.
Ooh. Pulling out the Wayne Corbett dog. Dirty.
You like that one? I thought that was a good one.
Yeah. That's dirty.
I mean, dude, I don't know what to say. I'm just utterly disappointed by this team's performance. I'm utterly disappointed by their lack of preparation. I'm utterly disappointed by being on offense and one snap into the game being down 7-0, and then getting a chance to maybe put ourselves back in the game and turning it over, and then getting another chance and turning it over, and then getting another chance and turning it over. I mean, bro, there was another record set in that game. Do you know what it was?
What's that?
The 28-0 lead in the first quarter.
That is not one that we're looking forward to.
I mean, how do I look at this team and not be just wanting to blow it up? It's a decade now of proving that this team just isn't good enough.
I hear ya. It's very sad times, Donkey.
This team,
we could be seeing the end of an era.
The only team that maybe was good enough was that team that played Jacksonville, right? Maybe.
Maybe. Didn't get it done there either. But that team had 2 perennial
superstars at the skill position. Do we even have a superstar at the skill position? I mean, maybe Chase Claypool turns into something, right? But he's not there yet, right? Can we at least agree that?
Not yet.
Is Juju Smith-Schuster a number 1 receiver?
Doesn't appear to be.
Okay. Is Deontay Johnson right now a number 1 receiver?
Doesn't draw doubles.
The best thing I say about Eric Ebron is he drops the ball.
He does do that.
I look at James Conner, and he's a nice running back, and I think he could be a really good running back behind a good offensive line. Do we have a good offensive line?
Not for running right now. We don't.
That brings me to the point. It's time to move on, dude. Welcome, Zoidberg. You can join the last half of our conversation here on your Daily Dose Donkey with Ginger. Special guest Zoidberg in the house.
Yeah.
Okay, so if your parts aren't good enough and your quarterback's clearly not good enough, and by the way, we left out the fourth point of why I blame him. Who's just solely responsible for over 20% of the salary cap hit right now, Gingy?
That's Ben Roethlisberger.
If you're responsible for that much of the cap, you have to be the best player on the team. I can't say that. Maybe he's the best quarterback. I'm not even 100% sure of that. But it is what it is. It's sad. Day ended. Gingy, is there anything else you want to touch on this game before I get into my final talking point for the episode?
I can't tell you. We're going to have to look at really far ahead here in terms of what the Steelers are going to have to do next. I'm not sure. I'm not a Monday morning quarterback. I'm not going to knee-jerk react to this. I have to sit and think a little bit about what happens next.
It's not knee-jerk. At least not for me, dude. I've been calling for this.
Because Mason Rudolph is not the quarterback of the future. He's not. But I'll tell you what, he still has a better deep ball than Ben. He still has a better deep ball than Ben Roethlisberger does right now. I see Ben Roethlisberger at best winning maybe a random playoff game. Maybe if the Dolphins make it next year, the Steelers will get a home playoff game.
Lie. Get the fuck out of here.
Maybe, like you said, Donkey. Maybe then they could win a playoff game with Ben Roethlisberger. However, I didn't disagree with you there for sure. But in terms of Super Bowl caliber, at this point, I don't think that offense has that in them. And the salary cap hit is too much. I'm disappointed with where the season ends. First thing I thought. 'Twas the tale of two seasons. Was the worst of times and the best of times.
It was the grand illusion.
Genji.
Grand illusion.
To
Genji Dickens, dude.
Yes, Sweetie, thank you for getting the reference. And
let's go.
And 11-0, hopes were high. And then since Thanksgiving, you see one good half of football.
It kind of was like the French Revolution in that way. Hopes were really high, but then just a whole bunch of heads start rolling, dude.
All right, Zoidberg, you came to join the show.
That's right,
hit
boy.
us with a quick recap of what you saw out there, because I'm sure you didn't hear what we were talking about. So go ahead and hit us what you saw.
I saw an arrogant team taking on a hungry team is really what I saw. A team that was actually better than the team that was favored was actually not the better team. But they thought they were going into that game.
That's true. I still look at roster construction, and that Browns team is better top to bottom than the Steelers when Bud Dupree and Devin Bush aren't on the field. I actually predicted this outcome
without the turnovers. The turnovers surprised me, like how fast they got down. That surprised me, but I had a feeling they were going to get run over by that team.
Yeah, I know. I changed my tune about this team. I give them faith, and they just spit in my frickin' face, dude. Come on now, that's unacceptable.
Being overdogs is the worst possible case for Pittsburgh Steelers.
I want to get into something really fun. So Fiechner is gone. That's good. One of Ben's little minions is gone. But, Gingy, what are we going to do? Who are we going to look to? I told you I have a few names I'm looking at offensive coordinator.
Bring back Wisenhunt.
Tell me what you're thinking.
Bring back Wisenhunt.
That was one of the names that I heard tossed around, but I don't think you can draw him back.
I don't think he'll go.
Parting,
he got
that
screwed,
part.
yeah.
I was gonna say there wasn't a great parting. Ken Wisenhunt.
He got screwed on the deal before. I don't think he'll work for the guy that stole the job from him.
Yeah. Yes, that is the deal. So I'd love to see that, but I don't think that's the answer. I've heard a couple other names tossed around. Steelers are pretty classic for hiring internally, so Matt Canada obviously has to become one of the candidates there. Not my choice.
He should have got fired before. He should have got fired before Fichtner.
Not my choice either.
More dink dunks since Canada was added. Dink dunks and jet sweeps.
No, I heard
Canada's the jet sweeps, not the dink dunk. I've watched his offense enough. He actually likes to take deep shots. The dink dunk passes aren't Canada. The jet sweeps are.
I have heard some rumors about a Jim Caldwell.
Oh God, please.
I'm
I
I'm
like Jim
against
Caldwell
that.
as a head
Overly
coach, not as a
conservative.
coordinator.
But yeah, I don't know. What were you thinking, fellas?
Do you have a preference in those names?
Okay, that is pretty.
It depends on which way
who's
they
quarterback next year.
Yeah. And how they
fair.
plan on approaching the future. Are they going to go down the running style that Baltimore seemed to choose, or are they going to go the old classic route?
That is actually more to Jim Caldwell, in my opinion. If they go back to that team, I think he's a good choice. But if we're going to be the super duper Steelers and run 4 wide and shotgun and 5 wide, that's not going to be my first choice. It would probably be Matt Canada.
They're going to need to rebuild that offensive line if they're going to keep running football.
And that's because, and you know, I'm a Steeler homer. I like what I know. You know what I mean? I'd like to give him a shot. They brought him in to add some spice to that offense. There was a tiny hint of spice. It was no bam in terms of amount of spice added by Matt Canada, and that's because I don't think we had the personnel to run his offense that well. But
Gingy, we had this conversation before the show.
Yeah, and you were telling me that earlier, and as a diehard Pitt fan that you are, I tend to believe, in terms of what you were describing to me, that a mobile quarterback would be quite advantageous for that, and I'd be willing to give it a try. But like I said, it really depends the personnel we're putting on the field and what direction we're going moving forward.
I agree with you, and the reason I don't hate Matt Canada as an option, and this is something I told Gingy. So I said, this is what Matt Canada did at Pitt. Like the first few games, it was just the jet sweep that he ran. And he'd run, there's more wide receiver screens, but he always took deep shots. But their running game was great at Pitt. They did all sorts of draws and counters that worked really well.
And
but
personnel.
There's this neat little wrinkle they did because Pitt had semi-athletic quarterbacks, and they actually had a really athletic one named Ben DiNucci, who, by the way, shout out DiNucci getting a start in the NFL. Bro! Proud of you. Anyway, so what they would do is they'd fake the jet sweep, have the quarterback bootleg out, and then the quarterback had a double option because the tight end would pull off and slip under the line going the other way. They'd have the option of a shovel pass or quarterback sweep. It became like a triple option play, and it works really well with a running quarterback. And I'm just saying, it is time to move on, and there's a good quarterback who might actually run an offense like that really well, who's going to be a free agent, who showed a little something in his one game as a backup this year in oh my God, Vegas, as a Vegas Raider. That's Marcus Mariota.
Yeah,
But we'll get into that later when we get into player moves that could be potential. Right now, I just want to look at coordinators before we end the show. And so, Zoidy, any coordinators you think have a chance going in?
No.
No? I don't give a shit.
I have no thoughts on
Give me
this.
someone who's not Randy Feechner, and I will not be terribly angry.
I dropped Wizenhunt earlier. After that, man,
I
I have nothing to add.
All right, so
That's
we're gonna
fair.
go from 5, I think it's 5, to 1 in guys who I am thinking might have a chance here.
Lay it on me.
All right, at 5 you got Matt Canada. I like him. I honestly do. And I think he could do some good things, but that's if you're getting rid of Ben. And I think you need to. At 4, I like Kavka. I believe he's currently the quarterback's coach at Kansas City. I like him. I do. I think he's got some good things going. I think he could be a guy who could potentially pull it around. 3, I like Jay Gruden. I do. I like him as a coordinator. I hate him as a head coach, but I think he could be a good coordinator. I really do. 2, the guy I actually want them to hire. I liked what he was doing when he coached in the XFL. I like what he's done as an offensive coordinator. I think Pep Hamilton is the guy you need to get. I don't know why he's not my number 1.
No fucking way.
Pep Hamilton first. What? What's wrong with Pep Hamilton?
There's no way the Steelers go with Pitt Club. There's no way, man. So classic for hiring internally, man. They're not going to go with it. You think they're going to do a deep dive on this?
I hope it is, and I hope it's Pep Hamilton. Or I hope they have to do something outside the box. I think they do. If it's going to stay internal, then I want it to be Canada. But I really like Pep Hamilton. And you could say my number one option, by the way, is internal. He's a guy who has, I'm going to say zero coaching experience, but he's a guy I listen to a lot, really does a good job breaking down things, and I think he'd do a great job calling games. And he has been in the Steelers organization now for going on 2 decades. Anyone have a little over 2 decades? Anyone have any guess who my number one choice is going to be?
Nothing here.
He came to the Steelers organization after playing a while for the Detroit Lions. He currently works in their after show, breaking down the games on radio. Oh man, no one.
But the Detroit Lions. Oh, Charlie Batch.
Charlie
Holy
Batch
shit.
is the guy
I don't
want
know,
to
man.
get this job. Former
That's a
quarterbacks
reach.
do a really good job, and I think he's
that's a
the
guy-
perfect type of guy. If you
It's a
listen to him
reach.
after the game, the way he's willing to break things down, the way he's willing to call out everything, and the fact that he's been known to do it, I think he's the guy. I would love to see it.
I would love to see it too. Love me some Charlie B. But maybe not.
I don't think it's going to happen. He's my personal favorite, the one I personally want. But if I'm thinking logically, I think the best logical choice is Pep Hamilton. I don't think Charlie Batch is the best logical choice, but he's my number one choice because I would love to see Charlie Batch in that situation. I would love to see Charlie Batch get a chance because listening to him, I think he just does such a great job. And the thing is, he was known as a guy who was always in there studying, always putting in the time. He seems like the type of guy who would do it right.
Let's go for it, donkey. I
That's
want to
what
see
I would
it.
love to see.
I want to see something different. We got a abysmal running game. Shish.
Yeah, it's a
Let's
complete
get some
rebuild,
linemen
in my
who can
opinion.
block. Anyone have a shout out for this week?
when it comes
Shout
the
out to
offense.
Steelers Nation for sticking with it during the season. All right, tough way to end, especially after the winning tradition that most of the young people have seen for most of their lives through the 90s with the Steelers beating the Browns. Tough loss. Renews rivalry. It's not a beat 'em up session anymore. The Browns got a little win in their win column for the playoffs, and history will tell the rest. But shout out to Steelers Nation for sticking with it. Wave them if you got them. There's always next season.
Let's go. Zoidy, you have any shout outs? I know you're kind of, you're not new to this.
Well-
You co-hosted an episode by yourself.
by myself. Well, I was with you, donkey, but yeah,
you were the solo co-host.
I guess I got to give my shout outs to the Cleveland Browns and their fans. I never wanted to see this fucking day. I wish you guys nothing
I'm
but
with you.
failure in the future. But you know,
That makes it hurt even worse.
Shout out. Well, first off, my shout out just got double strong because my shout out was gonna be with Gingy for putting up with me for this whole season, being here, and hopefully continuing into the off season as the co-host of your daily dose of Donkey with Ginger Sports Talk, maybe soon to be called Steelers Talk. We'll talk. But yeah, my shout out was to Gingy, and then just noising over any Brown shout out, dude. Double shout out to Gingy because yeah, those deplorables will never get a shout out from me because. Yeah.
Oof.
Like, I'm happy you won your Super Bowl, Cleveland.
I'm
But
not.
remember, you still have football to play next week. And here now, because I just shit talk them, they're going to win again and beat the Chiefs. And
Probably.
I'm going to shit talk them, and they're going to win their way to the Super Bowl, and I'm going to laugh my ass off. But yeah, that is
Wow.
what it is. Anyway,
That's a
thank y'all for
stretch.
joining us. You can catch me at Viking_Donkey on Twitch or the Daily Dose of Donkey at Ginger on YouTube. Hope to be adding some social stuff up soon. Maybe adding a little more episodes in, not of this, but of random things. Putting on a little more gameplay. Hopefully getting the face cam set up that I got for Christmas. I'm just too lazy to do. Don't forget to look out for Mutant Gingy on Xbox Live. Hit 'em
Hanging
up.
out.
We love playing
Rocking
games.
out. Rocking
Yeah,
out.
we've been rocking Fallout recently, but hit us up. We'll play anything. Hopefully be getting some Halo sometime soon if they ever fix that. Shout out for Zordy coming in like a wrecking ball in the middle of the episode. Love to see it.
Demolish, baby.
Boot.
All right. Gingy, any party notes for this one? Are we still waving them? Are we? I guess so.
We're still waving them, but now, the next date on the calendar for me is April 29th, and that's draft day, and I look forward to being able to speak with you in the future about things like that.
Oh, let's hope you joining us next week.
Oh, we should be around.
All right. Well, dear Steeler Nation, I'll say it. Wave them if you got them. We still got pride. We still got 6 rings. We still got the future. And hey, every now and then you gotta hit rock bottom so you can go to the top. Let's go.
We're the
Here we
Browns.
go.